Hello. Today I will explain about economic rural transport. In this video, I will explain the role of rural transport in economic development. Rural transport is not just about roads or vehicles, but about how people in rural areas access markets, education, healthcare, and economic opportunities.
Rural transport refers to the movement of people and goods in rural areas. These areas usually have low population density and long distances between destinations. Despite these challenges, rural transport is essential for economic development and social integration. Now let us see the video explaining about rural transport and how it operates.
Ever wonder how people travel beyond the city? Here's a quick look at rural transport. From buses to motorbikes, even boats, rural transport adapts to local terrain and demand. Services mix fixed routes with demand-responsive trips. In some areas, shared taxis depart when full. Village hubs connect farms with nearby towns. Many trips carry both people and goods for efficiency. Long distances, rough roads, and weather shape timetables, safety, and costs. Reliable links unlock clinics, schools, and markets. Better data and community planning can improve coverage.
Demand in rural transport refers to how often, why, and in what ways rural residents need transportation. People require transport to sell agricultural products, go to school, access healthcare, and participate in social and economic activities. Rural transport demand is influenced by several factors. Road conditions and weather affect travel reliability. Limited transport options, such as buses or vans, reduce accessibility. Agricultural cycles also increase demand during harvest seasons or market days.
Rural transport faces many challenges. These include poor road infrastructure, limited public transport services, high transport costs, safety issues, and accessibility problems for elderly and disabled users. These problems can lead to social exclusion and reduced economic opportunities.
Now let us see the video explaining about problem in rural transport.
Ever wonder why rural trips feel unpredictable? Same distance, different reality. Roads and weather change the game. On sunny days, buses glide through. After storms, mud, floods, and washed-out bridges stall everything. Weather shifts make travel time unreliable for families and farmers. Road conditions matter. Potholes, narrow shoulders, steep hills. A 30-minute trip can double when surfaces degrade. Reliability drops, so people delay travel or stay home. Limited options reduce accessibility. Many villages have one bus, a few vans, and long waits. If you miss it, the next ride may be hours away. Stops can be far, and seats limited during peak times. Agricultural cycles spike demand. Harvest season packs buses with workers, tools, and produce. Market days create surges as families head to sell and buy. Same routes, but suddenly far more riders need them. Data-driven planning turns patterns into better service. Forecast demand by season and market days. Add flexible schedules, pop-up stops, and on-demand vans. Support policy and infrastructure decisions with real costs and benefits. When reliability, availability, and seasonality align, mobility improves. Better roads, smarter timetables, and community transport expand access. For planners, leaders, and rural families, this is impact you can measure. Rural mobility works best when we plan with local realities.
The supply of rural transport mainly depends on road transport, while rail, waterways, and air transport are used in specific regions. However, poor infrastructure, limited investment, and irregular services reduce the effectiveness of rural transport supply. Rural transport has a strong economic impact. Positive effects include improved market access, job creation, and reduced poverty. However, negative impacts such as environmental damage and displacement may occur if transport development is poorly managed. Investment in rural transport is necessary due to poor road conditions, limited public transport services, high costs, and isolation of vulnerable groups. Investment helps ensure safe, reliable, and affordable transport for rural communities.
Now let us see the video explaining about why investment in rural transport matters.
In many rural areas, transportation remains a critical challenge with poor road conditions and limited connectivity. Limited public transport options and high transportation costs create barriers to essential services and economic opportunities. AI-based planning tools analyze data to identify priority rural routes and optimize transport infrastructure investments. This technology improves transport efficiency, reduces infrastructure costs, and ensures resources are allocated where they're needed most. Investing in rural transport connects communities to markets, healthcare, and education, fostering inclusive economic growth. With strategic investment and AI-driven planning, we can transform rural connectivity and empower communities for a better future.
Investing in rural transport brings many benefits, including economic growth, better access to healthcare and education, and reduced inequality. Policy recommendations include sustainable funding, public-private partnerships, green transport solutions, and community participation.
Rural transport plays a vital role in economic development. Improved transport infrastructure reduces isolation, lowers costs, and supports inclusive and sustainable rural growth. At its heart, rural transport is about more than just roads and vehicles. It's about human potential. When we bridge the gap between isolation and opportunity, we don't just move people, we move entire economies forward. Let's build the pathways to a more inclusive and sustainable future.
Created using Powtoon.